Welcome back to the Boys and Bolos podcast. We're down here in the barbershop studio. Jarrett, again, is remote, and we will kick things off with a story. Jarrett, you want to hear a story?
Yeah, is this a fireside chat?
It's a fireside chat. I got my electric fireplace going. It's cold and icy up here in New England. I went to Colombia last week, as many listeners know, and I was down there and enjoying the nice temperate climate. I wouldn't say it was necessarily warm, but it was a lot warmer than up here. I returned to freezing cold temperatures. It's officially spring in New England, and I'm very, very cold. The story is that I don't know. I lost my train of thought. That's it. I got nothing. That's it. You
literally don't have a story?
I don't have a story.
Are you on a drug?
Yeah, it's called... Oh, the story is... Okay, well...
Are you on a synthetic?
Let's rewind. So, before Colombia, it's not really a story. It's more of just like a life thing that's happening to me. Before I went to Colombia, I stopped drinking. Completely stopped drinking. You heard about this, right, Jarrett? I stopped drinking.
Yeah, you stopped drinking for like 48 hours?
It was more like 72. It was...
a close 96?
Close 96. But no, it was mostly due to the way I felt. Felt terrible all the time. Wasn't sleeping great. Stopped drinking. It was going really well. And then I went to Colombia. And as you know, while I was there, I imbibed in a few drinks, as I call them. A
couple bebidas.
Bebidas, por favor. And bebidas? I was off the wagon. Off the wagon. Is that
you were
thing?
Off the wagon.
Off the wagon.
Yeah.
I was off the wagon for a week. I drank some. What do we went to a Mexican place? I had some.
We had margaritas.
I had a margarita.
You had beers. You had aguardiente.
I had mojitos. I had aguardiente mixed with
whiskey. You had a lot.
Oh, the whiskey was a rough night. I had the whiskey, and I immediately got heartburn, and then I forced Julie to go get me heartburn medicine, and she had to ask the people, because apparently, I don't know, people get it, but I don't know. She was very confused. Anyway, she had to ask the guy. She got it for me, took care of me. I got home, and guess what, everyone?
When you say home, you mean you got back to the USSR, and what happened?
I got back on the wagon. Doesn't sound right.
No, you're right. You're back on the wagon. That's good.
That's good. I'm not drinking again.
How long?
Whatever it's been. How long have I been back?
I guess it depends who Spurs plays on the weekend.
We'll talk about that later. Yeah, so I'm feeling good. I'm feeling healthy. I'm feeling fresh. Jarrett, how are you?
I'm feeling great. When you left, we'll eventually talk about soccer. If this is your first time listening to the Boys and Bolos podcast, we don't just talk about our own lives and our drinking issues as middle-aged men. I had time with Jeff when he was here. We imbibed a lot, got very drunk many nights. It was fun, good times, just the chill. And then
by the way, our significant others, my wife and Jared's girlfriend, absolutely hated us for about 6 days straight. If you go on vacation with Jared and I, you will realize this, that it's basically just a continuation of the podcast, but all day. We don't turn off. This is it. This is what we are like.
Well, the thing is, the thing that they hated most was that they had to laugh every once in a while, because every 10 joke was actually funny, 10th joke, so they would giggle and they'd hate themselves for giggling.
I know.
Jenna would try to your wife would try to hold it in. She'd be like, hee hee hee. But so then Julie and I went up to the coast, and where I continued to drink, and then I got sick on the last day, but I believe it was food poisoning because it came on pretty quick after having eaten a dish up on the coast. But I also realized that I'd basically been drinking almost 12 days straight. And so now I'm back on the wagon, drinking water. Our fridge is full of all the beer you guys left. There's 30 beers in our fridge.
I know. I was going to ask you about that. You're welcome.
We have 30 beers in the fridge. We have a half a bottle of wine, and we probably have a fifth, or if not more, of aguardiente, which is the local sugar cane water that is anise-based. And anyways, all this is to say, I have temptation right next to me, but I'm not going to. My body is dead. I'm literally just going to do yoga and eat fruit for the next 6 days and think about, I don't know, something. But anyways, let's get into the footy. And the first thing I want to say is that Christian Pulisic is a great American. That's the lead in. Go.
As he's the LeBron James of soccer, as they say.
He is the LeBron James of soccer.
I mean, he scored a hat trick. Is that right? 2 penalties
against Panama.
And a beautiful goal.
It was unbelievable.
Third goal. It was great. I mean, they crushed Panama. It was just great to see. Just all around great game.
I put up a video of Christian's third goal, which if you haven't seen and you're listening to this podcast, I don't know who you are. Maybe you're just not into the U.S., I guess. But his goal has kind of gone viral because it's an unbelievable goal. You know, he brings it down on a swivel. He brings it through his own leg, then megs another guy, and then buries it past the goalkeeper. And I put it up on TikTok, and the comments are just absolutely insane. They're like, you Americans are so happy because you beat Panama. Some guy posts, he's like, this is the Panama U8 team. And all I've said to all of this, and this is a good transition into this shithousery, is North Macedonia beat Italy. Like, this isn't that crazy, right? Like, there are more people in Panama than there are in North Macedonia, right? Like, Panama went to a World Cup recently. It's not that joke of a country. So, anyways, all of that is to say that we are living in a weird world where Italy is now not going to be in the World Cup again.
Are you happy about this, or are you sad about this?
I am so indifferent. I like Italy being in the World Cup because they bring a lot of drama. There's a lot of diving. There's a lot of, like, you know, asking for things with my fingers. But I think the bigger thing, and did you know this stat? This is going to shock people if they did not know this stat. Jeff, tell me Italy's last knockout game in the World Cup. What year was that?
2006.
Which is a shocker, which means Italy's last knockout game in a World Cup was when they won in the penalty shootout against France in 2006, which, if my math is okay, was 16 years ago. It also means that Italy's not going to feature in a World Cup for 12 years. They were in it in 2010. Then they weren't in it in 2014. They weren't in it in 2018. And now they're not going to be in 2022. And obviously the craziest thing is that they just won the Euros. So then you have to ask yourself, is European competition weak? Because how does the team that wins your regional tournament not make the World Cup? That's like Italy. That's like Argentina not making the World Cup. That's like the U.S. not making the World Cup, which is still a possibility. And we can talk about this. They have to lose to Costa Rica by 5 goals. Mexico has to win, and act of gods have to happen. But I just think like what happened so Italy wouldn't make it? Their group was not that difficult, all things considered.
They don't score goals. Simple as that. You can, as shown in as like in CONMEBOL, you can be a negative goal differential and still like just win a game here and there and still make it through. I mean, that's what it comes down. I mean, you still got to score goals. You got to score goals. You got to win football games. You can't tie, and you can't lose a game by a goal because you still lose those points. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, just Italy aren't that good offensively. I mean, they're known to be a defensive team, but now they have older defenders that start, and they need to bring in some young talent that can score goals. Coaching, maybe it comes down to coaching. Maybe there's not the right coach. I don't know.
I really can't like put my finger on anything, but Leonardo Bonucci said everything was decided in just one game. It's absurd. Other teams were able to lose 4 to 5 games and qualify. We concede at the 92nd minute and it's over. It's pure madness. And Footy Emporium says basically, Bonucci takes a dig at South American World Cup qualifying rules. And I just laugh. I just absolutely giggle at that because in their group, they had Switzerland, Northern Ireland, Bulgaria, and Lithuania. They have absolutely no leg to stand on to not make the World Cup. They've won it 4 times. It's absolutely asinine.
Yeah, I mean, it's the top 2 teams in the group, right, that make it through?
The top team makes it through, and then the second team drops into a playoff, and that's how they got into this playoff.
Right.
I think there's like a top. I think there's like the top 2 second teams don't have to or whatever, but whatever. They basically took the qualifiers for granted. They didn't show up when they should have. Maybe they thought it was going to be a cakewalk, and this happens. For me, it's like the most shocking thing is that it's 2 times in a row. The U.S. didn't qualify last time. We're hopefully not going to make that mistake this time. We move forward. Holland qualified. They didn't qualify last time. They're not going to make that mistake. Chile didn't qualify last time, and they're definitely not qualifying this time. So It's just interesting to see how like the world football ebb and flows, even though like historically you think, okay, Italy's going to make it, but then goose egg, they're not in the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think they were particularly impressive. I mean, okay, I actually retract that statement. They were impressive in the Euros. I mean, they didn't. I mean, obviously they didn't get scored on. I mean, obviously, and they won the thing. But they were a dark horse team. They were not favored by any means. They were not on paper. They were not better than England or better than Germany. You know what I mean? It's like the team. But you got to look at Europe qualifying, right? Every team that should have made it in, except for Italy, made it in, right? They all did what they had to do, and they made it in. Italy doesn't take it seriously. They're in the cakewalk group, and Switzerland made it through, right, in that group?
Switzerland made it through in that group, but I'm not sure if Switzerland is in the World Cup. Nope, I lied. Switzerland, yeah. Switzerland was the direct.
Yeah.
And so the teams out of Europe that have qualified thus far are Germany, Denmark, Belgium, France, Croatia, Spain, Serbia, Switzerland, England, the Netherlands.
I mean, come on. Those are the
Poland got in today.
Portugal get in yet?
Wondolowski. And Portugal and Poland got in today.
Right. Okay. Those are all the teams. If I was to give me a list of 30 countries that were in whatever it is, 50 countries or whatever the amount of countries that are in those groups, those are the teams I would pick.
I mean, it makes sense. Germany won it in 2014. They're 4-time winners. Like, they're beasts. Denmark have had a great team. Eriksen's back scoring goals. I think he scored twice today. Belgium, their golden generation still kind of hanging out. They were in the top 4 in 2018. France won it in 2018. Croatia was in the final in 2018. Spain was in the top 4 of the Euros recently. And then, Spain. This Spanish team I actually think is going to do very well in the World Cup. I just think that they're made to just be super annoying. Switzerland, I don't know what they're going to do because they don't have Xherdan Shaqiri, and he's a god to me, a.k.a. Human Cube. Human Cube. The Netherlands,
they have Xhaka.
Not that. Yeah, they have Xhaka, exactly. They have Xhaka. He's good for 2 red cards and out of the tournament. England, I actually think England are potential favorites. They've just been like slowly knocking on the doors over the last couple of years. They were in the final of the Euro, and in 2018 they were in the semifinal. Only lost to Croatia, at the depth. At the death. So,
yeah, I mean, England have the depth, I think, to go far.
They have the depth, and they have your favorite coach on the planet, Gary Southgate. Excuse me. Harry Maguire.
Harry Maguire.
Gary Southgate.
Harry Kane.
It's kind of a shit show though right now with these teams making it, because the Cameroon game today, and Nader was texting about this. Algeria is winning 1-0 in like the 93rd minute. No, Algeria scores. What was it? I don't want to mess this up. Let me look at the actual score. Nader says Algeria scores the go-ahead goal in the 118th minute, basically the winner. Then Cameroon scores in the 123rd minute to get an away goal and qualify. Insanity. And if you go on our Instagram, I put up a picture of the Algerian coach on his knees while the Cameroonians celebrate in the background. That is brutal. Like soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, is one of the most brutal sports out there. Just when you think you've won it, you're out of the World Cup. And have you seen the pictures of Mo Salah and how many lasers he had on him when he went to go take a PK today? And he lost again. Egypt lost again in PK. So Egypt is out of the World Cup and Senegal is in the World Cup. Have you seen those pictures?
Yeah, I wasn't sure what those were. They were lasers, huh? Like lasers.
He was trying to take
pointers?
the PK. Yeah, and there were lasers. I mean, it's absolutely egregious. There's like no way he could have even seen the ball. There was like probably 16 laser pointers at his eye at any one time. It's absolutely incredible. It is insane that FIFA allowed that to happen. Did he miss it? It is insane. He missed it. He blew it over the bar. And he went first this time, because last time in the AFCON, he went 5th and he didn't get to take the shot because they had already buffed it. So he went first this time to kind of lock it down, misses it. Egypt is out of the World Cup.
Bad luck.
And the thing I'm most disappointed is I thought maybe if Mo gets in the World Cup and he plays well in the group stage, maybe they get out of the group stage. Egypt's not a very good team. If they do, though, at least he's in the conversation for the Ballon d'Or because he's been playing so well. But if you don't go to the World Cup, you're just not going to win the Ballon d'Or. It's that simple.
Yeah, the people who in a World Cup year, the player who does well in his domestic league and then in the World Cup. It has to be. Just the way it is.
And that's what happened with Modric in 2018. He did well in the domestic. I think he'd won the Champions League with Real Madrid, maybe 2018. I think I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. And then he came in second, behind France, but basically carried his team. He won the Ballon d'Or. I think it was well deserved. So right now, Colombia is beating Venezuela 1-0 in Venezuela, and Peru is also winning. So it looks like Colombia is going to be out of the World Cup, which is a bummer for me. Tomorrow, the CONMEBOL finishes up, but we'll know the last 6 or 7 teams to go to the World Cup soon. And, yeah. Anything else you want to talk about in world
big
football,
news,
Jeffrey?
Big news. Canada made the World Cup for the first time since 1986. Congratulations, Canucks. They celebrated very loudly, but I would still like the U.S. to go ahead and smash the shit out of Costa Rica tomorrow. And then maybe Canada will lose and U.S. will be number 1 and take them down a peg. But I feel confident that the U.S. will finish up business tomorrow, win. I think it's a home game, right, anyway. And it's not? It's in Costa Rica?
It's in San Jose.
Oh, well, at least it'll be warm. Right?
I mean, they just need to tie and or not lose by 5 goals. If they somehow mess this up, it's going to be hard for me to not break things here in Colombia. I'll be so pissed because then both my teams aren't in. I can double dip. And then I'll just
even if they lose by 5 goals or 6 goals, whatever it is, they go to the playoff.
Yeah, but that's just embarrassing.
Maybe
at that point it's the best overall because then maybe we get Weston McKennie back and Greg Berhalter definitely gets fired. There's a silver lining there.
Silver lining somewhere. I don't think they'll lose by 5 goals. I honestly think the worst case scenario is they tie. I don't see them losing. But the game was promising. They took care of business against Panama, who's always annoying to play against. No, they played Panama. Yeah, Panama. Oh, yep. God, I'm losing it.
Yeah, they played Panama.
I'm losing it.
Playing Panama in Panama is brutal. They played them at home, and it was just easy peasy down in Orlando.
And enough of that shithousery playing in cold weather. They played them in Orlando. Oh, wow. Players play better in warm climates. Who would have fucking thought? Jesus Christ, U.S. Soccer. God, get your fucking shit together. Don't play games in fucking Minnesota in fucking January, you dinguses. But that's how I feel about it. You obviously know.
God, yeah, tell us how you really feel, Jeff. Let's waste no more time with the international football and jump into Week 31, which is going to be played back in the Prem this Saturday. Already in April, Jeff, even though it will still be probably snowing in Massachusetts, a.k.a. it is Frozen 3. Are you ready?
60,
you ready to go?
60 on Thursday, just so you know.
Are you going? Are you biking?
I might have thought out by the weekend. Yeah, I'm around. And, let's get right into it. 31. Week 31.
The first game of 31 is going to be a beleaguered Mo Salah leading the line. Or maybe he won't. Maybe he and Mane honestly won't play because it's Watford. They actually probably won't play this, and I need to think about that for fantasy. But it's going to be Liverpool versus Watford at Anfield. I do not see a way that Liverpool drop any points here. Do you?
No. I mean, most of their players are doing some kind of international work, which is always a consideration, I guess. Well, Watford probably got some nice R&R. But that doesn't matter because the Liverpool are just going to roll over them 3-0.
Fine with that score. The next game, Brighton Hove versus Norwich, and this is played at the Amex. I'm checking the table right now. Jeff, where do you think Brighton are, just if you had to guess and you're not looking?
16th.
They're 13th. So Brighton versus Norwich. Norwich is dead last. Brighton is 13th.
Oh, they're bad.
With the game in hand. So I'm going to go with Brighton at this. They're at home, too. I'm going to go Brighton 2-0.
Agree. They're not good. Norwich are not good. Going back to the championship, baby.
Back to the straight train to the championship. The next game will be played between the Citizens versus the Turfmorians, a.k.a. Burnley. Now, I would like to think that this is an easy win for City, but they've had players that had to go out on international break, and Sean Dyche is a genius. So, what do you think? 3-0 City?
I'm gonna go with the game prediction is that the they'll hold City off for about 38 minutes. Almost to the first.
You've heard it here, folks.
They almost get to the first half. They'll almost get it 0-0 the first half, but then City will break through. They'll score a goal, and then I'm thinking it will just be a matter of time before Burnley, they just roll it up and pack it in and say maybe better luck next time, and it ends 3-0.
How much of Sean Dyche's team talk is based around of let's get zeros to the locker room at halftime? I'm going to go 96% of his pregame is about that. Next game, Chelsea-Brentford. This is going to be played at the Bridge. Brentford is currently in 15th. Chelsea is sitting in 3rd. I would like to think Chelsea win this game, but last time when we played Brentford, they honestly outplayed Chelsea. And if it wasn't for a Mendy special, they should have at least tied or won, but Chelsea won. So I'm going to go with Chelsea, but going to win, but it's going to be by 1 goal. I'm not really going to enjoy it. May not even watch it.
A 1-0 kind of guy.
Just by a goal, I don't know.
I don't think Brentford can break down Chelsea's defense and score on Mendy. So I'm going to go with Chelsea 2-0. I think Ziyech and Havertz.
Speaking of Havertz, I saw this thing on Instagram, and I was very interested by it because I wasn't actually sure how I felt. But who would you choose if you had to choose? There's no money. It doesn't matter how much you pay them. If you just have to pick your 11th player to come on the field in the forward position, doesn't matter where, you'll fill it out. Who would you pick, Havertz or Foden? It's not easy. You see, it's not easy. I go with Havertz because I'm a Chelsea guy, and I've seen Havertz literally now score twice in big games. But I'm also like, Phil Foden is a special talent, and I don't even think he's come close to even getting close to his peak. And I think a lot of that is just because he's in the City system that maybe honestly doesn't actually allow him to flourish. But who do you if you had to take one, gun to the head, who are you choosing?
The present state and time, given the form, I'd say Havertz. But I'm biased. I don't really like any of the City players. I only really like Mahrez. That's the only player I really like to watch. All the other ones,
except Zach Steffen, because you're a phenomenal American.
It's just big.
The next game is Leedsverse Southampton. This is going to be at Ellen Road. Leeds, under the tutelage of Jesse Marsh, is now in 16th. Look at them. Go Leeds, go. Southampton is in 11th, which I think is a shock because I think we both thought they were going to do worse. I want Leeds to win this, and they're at home, so I'm going to make more of an emotional decision. I think Leeds is going to win 2-1.
I agree with that. I think they may have Bamford back, and they're fine. I'm gonna pick with my heart as well on this one, and hopefully Leeds will win.
The next game is Wolves versus Aston Villa. This is going to be a good game. It's at Molineux. Wolves have been brutal at Molineux. And these two teams are right next to each other. Wolves is in 8th and Aston Villa is in 9th. Now, for my bet with John Scheimer, I need Aston Villa to win. Who do I think will win? I think Wolves will win because they're at home. I think Wolves will win 2-0.
2-0's aggressive. I think it'll be a very close game, but I think Wolves will still win 1-0. Towards the end of the game.
Fair. It's gonna be a tight game. The next game is a candidate for the game of the week, the mini bat game of the week as far as like greatness. I don't know if that's actually how we define mini bat games. It's between Manchester United and Leicester City. And this game will be played at none other than the Theater of Horrors, aka the Theater of Dreams. Let me look at the table and see where we are. Manchester United is sitting in 6th. They've got a game in not many games in hand over anybody. They're on 50 points, and Leicester's on 27 with games in hand. So, do you think Leicester can beat United at home?
Yes.
Do you think they'll beat them at home this Saturday?
Do I think on paper? No. But I've seen United play some poor football, and I've seen Harry Maguire let up some cheese-tastic goals, and he's not very good. So I actually think that I'm hoping for your bet and for the table, because I really want Spurs to put some distance between United, that Leicester pull off a victory at Old Trafford Brendan Rodgers gets this team back on track, at least for the last 8-9 games of the season, and salvage something out of the season. Top half of the table, maybe. Something. I mean, 27 points is poor. It's really bad. That's really bad, especially for a team that was in Europe this year.
36 points out of 27.
Oh, 36 points. Either way, team this far down the table that was in Europe, this year and was in the top 4 discussion most of the year last year. Huge fall from grace. I hope they can pull it back together. I like James Maddison. I like Vardy. And hopefully they use this R&R time to look at the playbooks, look at the X's and O's, the board, the tactics, the stuff they need to do to get this train back on the track.
The only way that I win the John Scheimer bet is I need Leicester essentially to almost win out, almost have a perfect end of the season, and then I need Arsenal to lose they have 9 games left. I need Arsenal to lose 6 or 7 of those games and tie. So basically by week 32, I'm sending Scheimer. And John Scheimer, by the way, you still haven't told me what you want to do with the bet. Do you want $100 in pennies delivered to your front stoop, or do you want me to invest $100 in your daughter's education? Both, I think, are fine forms of payment. You just let me know. And you'll probably get that around week 32, depending on how Aston Villa and Leicester do. So I agree with you on that. I would love to see Leicester win, more of an emotional. I think United win because I think they have to win. It's going to be ugly. If United win, it will be ugly. If Leicester win, it will be embarrassing for United. I think that Leicester will really outplay them. I don't think Leicester has many players on break as United, so we'll see. Next game, Sunday, this is my other potential game of the week, is West Ham versus Everton, your 2 favorite teams. You probably have tattoos of these crests on your chest. Who do you think wins this? It's going to be at London. I think it's kind of like we already know. West Ham's in 7th, and they're really playing well. And Everton is right above relegation in 17th with 25 points out of 27 games. Now, Everton have games in hand, and this is one of those games that they're going to have to grind out if they want to keep it safe, I think.
I'm confused. You're thinking that this is a game that's going to be close?
I think it's going to be a game that's going to be closer than people think.
Oh. I
know, shocker.
Maybe close for a bit, the first 20 minutes, and then West Ham will be wait a second, these guys are jokers, and they'll probably score 3 goals. I just don't. 3-0.
I think it's going to be a 1-goal game,
Oh.
and I only say that because I just think Everton's going to start to become exceedingly desperate, and they're just going to really have to start to play for games. Because normally Everton finishes the season, and they've realized they can't make Europe, and they're not going to be relegated, so then it's just kind of we're just playing for paychecks. It is what it is. But there's a lot more serious things at stake with how they're playing. So
I saw a funny tweet on about Everton recently. That was they are already looking to sell Dele Alli so they don't have to pay Spurs for the whatever clause that they have in their contract. If Dele plays X amount of games, they have to pay him. So already trying to get rid of him because he's that bad. They realized how bad he is.
God, Dele.
What a disaster!
Fall from grace.
What a disaster!
The MK Don magician to no more.
We should go back to MK Dons. Hey,
you could go back to MK Dons. Liddy. The next game is between Tottenham and Newcastle. This game is going to be at the Tottenham Stadium. So who is going to win this game? I think it's fairly straightforward, but Newcastle is coming up the table a little bit. You guys need to win this to keep pressure on Arsenal. Is there any way you don't win this? You're at home. You're against a lower side.
No, they'll take care of business at home. They've been exceptionally good at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and they have Betancourt and Højbjerg in midfield, and they seem to be working well together. Betancourt has been really good, and I don't think Skip is coming back. He's on a pretty bad groin injury, pelvic injury, and I think he's out for the rest of the season. So this is what they're going to have to make do with for the rest of the season. And I think Betancourt and Kulusevski were great pickups, and it's nice to kind of know what the lineup's going to be every week. And that's the best team they have is the one play 3-4-3 up front, and I don't think there's really any there shouldn't be any real issues. Obviously Newcastle are better. It'll be a closer game than it would have been earlier in the season, I think, if before the transfer deadline, but I think a 2-0 victory is, a fairly straightforward kind of endeavor.
I agree. I think Tottenham will win this. And the final game of the week is between Crystal Palace and Arsenal. And this is at Selhurst. So this is one of those banana peels where I do need I need some slippage here. I need some breakage here, if in a business term, from Arsenal. Selhurst is not the most fun place to play. It's where AFC Richmond plays. Shout out Led Tasso. Is there a chance that Arsenal drop points here? Even just tie?
Yeah, there's a chance they tie. They're away. They haven't been bad away this year. They've been solid all around. There's no reason for them to. On paper, they're a better team than Crystal Palace. But Crystal Palace is one of those teams that takes scalps. They take points from top sides, and so they're annoying to play against. They're annoying to play against at home, in particular. I think Conor Gallagher will be back, and he's solid. And yeah, I who knows? I mean, what are you going to get from Arsenal? I assume you're going to get an Odegaard and Smith Rowe. Probably Odegaard starting over Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe was on international duty. You got Saka. I just heard he just got a big raise. Got to renegotiate his contract. Got a big raise, well deserved. And I mean they're a solid team. And I don't see. I mean it's a mid-table team versus a potential top 4 team. So on paper it looks like Arsenal should take care of business, and they've taken care of business. Honestly, they've beaten the teams they should beat this season. Well, last season they lost to the teams or tied teams that they should have beat. And so I think that's the big difference this year, right? So they'll still losing against Liverpool. They'll still lose against City. They'll still probably take a loss and a win against, Spurs, and, lose to Chelsea. But they should beat those mid-table teams, and they weren't doing that last year, but they're doing that this year. So I think that's the big difference between last year and this year's side. And by no means are they to compete for the title team, and I don't think anybody's arguing that, but they're much more solid, much more dependable, and so also have really good goalkeeping.
Also really good goalkeeping. Shout out Thomas Partey. I believe he'll be going with Ghana to the World Cup, which is cool. He also has been playing much better as of late. And when I say much better, I mean he's actually just been playing. I think he actually might be injured, or he played with Ghana today, but I feel like he's carrying a knock or two. But he is somebody, when Arsenal got him, I thought he was a steal, and he just hadn't panned out up until maybe the last 6 months. So I'm actually really happy to see him playing well, even if it is in an Arsenal jersey. Also, it looks like Rafinha is going to be going to Barcelona. So Barcelona they're kind of putting together a squad that no one's going to want to play in a couple of years, and maybe even next year, which is going to be fun because it's been tough to see them down as a Barcelona fan. Do you want to get right into a little fantasy? Because somebody new's at the top.
Well, who's new?
Nick Bailey is at the top. Mitch is in second. Will Hayden is in third. Oz all the way down to fourth, but he's only 40 points off the top. I mean, he can easily get that in a week. Mac Bruce is down to fifth, and, it's still looking good. Diego's actually moving on up. Diego's in sixth, so if Diego were to win it, that would be sweet. You are in ninth, and I'm in 10th. We are just not the best at this game.
It's okay. I haven't really been paying attention, and I got 3 kids. That's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use that excuse. I'm going to pull out the 3 kids card, and nothing you can do about it. That's it.
How often do you use the 3 kids card?
Oh, all the time. I use it at work all the time.
For what?
Oh, today I said, oh, no, I sold something on the internet, and I didn't send it out right away. No, so this is sort of work, but I sold something on the internet, and I didn't ship it out.
What'd you sell? I
sold a bike on the internet.
Oh, you ride bikes? I didn't know.
Oh yeah. Anyway, I sold a mountain bike on the Facebook Marketplace, and I was like, oh, I'll get it out on Monday, and then I didn't get it out not because I have kids, it's just because I'm kind of lazy. And then he messaged me and said, oh, what's the status? And I said, I got 3 kids. I don't know. Shit's just hit the fan. So didn't get it out. I'll get it out tomorrow.
It is what it is.
What it is.
It's not going to die.
It's not going to die. It's just a bike. He's going away this weekend. He already told me that. He's fine.
Well, the only last thing I'll say is that you and I are planning a trip for probably the beginning of May to go to England, the Colonial Fathers, to watch some games.
Yes.
And I'm assuming it's just you and I going at this point. But if anyone is listening and they're super interested and they've got some time, they want to go for 4 or 5 days, Jeff and I, we're going to watch a game in England. Then I think we're going to watch a game in London. Then I think we're going to rent a car, drive up, see a game in Manchester, and then drive over to Liverpool and see Chelsea play Everton. So it's going to be a very packed time. I met a guy when I was traveling on the coast of Colombia, and he has a flat that overlooks, or it's pretty close to Tottenham Stadium in London. So he said we can totally stay with him. He's like, oh, you guys are football fans. That's great. Come over. I told him about the podcast. So if you're listening to this and you're feeling really excited and you want to travel with the boys and Bolos and put up with Jeff and I for 4 or 5 odd days, Jeff and I may or may not fall off the wagon.
Oh.
It will be a good time for all. And reach out if you're feeling really enthused to do that.
I will let the listeners know that I'm resting. I'm really just resting my body for this trip. I'm really just.
Yeah, I'm resting my body. I need to sell some stuff on eBay to pay for it because I look at the pound dollar and I'm like, God, our currency
yeah,
is
it's
dead.
not good. I'm gonna hope that they take some kind of cryptocurrency for most transactions, and then I do a lot better.
If they don't accept Doge, what do they accept?
They don't accept VThor. What do they accept? No, I actually did get an interest. Cronin, shout out to our boy Jeff. He's on board. And I hung out with my friend Kyle. Jarrett knows Kyle, right? Right, Jarrett?
Yeah, his legal name is your friend Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle's his last name.
I saw Kyle on Saturday, and was interested in going as well. He said he had some miles to use. And big football fan.
Well, that might round out the car then. I don't know how big English cars are. Maybe we get one more person in.
Yeah, I mean, unless we rent a minivan, it's gonna be tight.
Ooh, we could rent a minivan. Anyways, the more the merrier. If you want to come, we're going to have to figure out where we're staying, how we're doing it. So if you hear this and you're inclined at all and you got 4 or 5 days and you want to roll with us.
It's going to be like a long weekend. It's not going to be a lot of days off of work.
It's a Thursday to Tuesday morning situation.
Yeah.
It's not anything more than that.
It's not crazy. I got the flights figured out. It's direct from Boston. I mean, you can meet us there, obviously, if you're somewhere else in the country. We understand not all our listeners are Boston-based, but that's where we'll be flying out of, Logan. And, we're going to get there. Going to drive on the other side of the road. I'm going to eat some fish and chips, drink some pints, I think. It's going to be great. It's going to be a good time.
We're going to be as culturally insensitive as possible, say soccer as much as possible.
Yep, that's true. Also, I feel like, though, as much as it will be kind of obvious we're Americans in England, I think I'll fit in at least a little bit better than I did in Colombia because they speak similar. They speak English there. I'm not exactly fluent in Spanish, although I did do pretty well when I was in Colombia. Please attest to that.
You did really well. Juli was super, wow.
Really?
I mean, you were able to play. Yeah, Juli, because Juli assumed 0.
Oh, true.
So you were way past that. I mean, you were pulling out vocab all the time, and I think you were also able to understand when other people were talking, even if you couldn't respond. You were able to get a lot of the gist, which is
half the
very
battle.
important. So
yeah. Also, when they teach you Spanish, they teach you how to order food and drinks and say thank you and all that bullshit. So
yeah,
that's what we were doing a lot.
Gave you the keys to fall off the wagon. So that was good for you.
Yes, cervezas all around.
Yeah, curvaces.
Curvaces.
I think that's it, Jeff.
It's good to hear. Eventually, we will do maybe the top and highest and lowest teams, how they will finish in the league. Eventually, we'll get to that. Maybe one day, but maybe not. Maybe we won't do that. Maybe we'll just go top 4 relegation.
Yeah. We'll do that next week when we do week 32 and we preview week 32. We just haven't done it. All this international, the World Cup, we've both been traveling. We will do that because I think at that point I will have to send John either money for his daughter's college or maybe I'll hire a task rabbit. I'll pay $30 for someone to take out $100 in a bank. I don't know. It will be ridiculous. So, John, if you listen to this, you need to make a decision.
I could always help you out.
You could always help me out. That's true.
Yeah, I am.
Maybe what I'll do is I'll take it out in dollars and I'll put it in Easter eggs. And for Easter, he has to go around his house to get all his money.
Oh, that's a great idea.
because I know that he would hate that, but I think his wife would love that idea just to kind of get under his skin. So there's a lot of silver linings to me losing the bet, you know?
I hear that. I hear that. Okay, well, sounds like you got some ideas forming, and maybe you figure it out by in a couple weeks.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, everyone. Ciao.
Thanks for listening to the Boys and Bolos podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Twitch at Boys and Bolos.
If you'd like to be a guest, please reach out. You can hit us on any of the social media accounts that Jeff just mentioned, or email us directly at boysandbolos@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening, and see you next time.